Hello and welcome to our TV program Foreign Education. I'm Elena Slobodyan.
And I'm Marina Potapova, and I'm very happy to have two of our guests at the studio. Lisa Janes, who is the head of International Business Development at Kingswood Language School, the UK, and Mauro Biondi, who is the head of the language school as well, Emerald Cultural Institute, Ireland and the United States of America.
Okay, dear guests, can you introduce us to your programs? What kind of programs do you have?
Well, we have different programs, both for adults and for juniors. For juniors, we have 5 different programs, both in Ireland, in Dublin, and in New York, which can be a combination of just English with cultural and social activities, or English and sports, like football, rugby, tennis, horse riding. For adults, we have a variety of programs which cover all the areas of the English language learning, from general English to specialized English.
Mm-hmm. Right, thank you.
We have several centres in the UK which specialise in providing adventure activity programmes for British children in British schools. And our international guests come and integrate with the British children. They have English lessons and activities.
Lisa, would you mind to tell us why it is important to start learning foreign language from an early age?
Language learning is much easier for children. They do not have the barriers that adults have. They're not as shy as teenagers, so they're much more open to learn much more quickly. Up until the age of 7, it's actually very easy for most children to learn many languages.
Right, and do you have many Russian speakers in both schools?
In our school, we specialise with British schools and British children. We have about 2% to 5% of Russian children, depending on the time of year. We would never take more than a maximum of 10%.
It would be pretty similar in the Emerald, although the difference is that all our students are international students, so they come from more than 50 countries, and Russian students will be, again, between 4 and 5%, would be 5% in the summer, 4% during the year.
Okay, and what is the minimum age of your student?
In our centers, for adults, will be 18. For juniors, normally will be 12. So when Russian students travel alone, will be 12. But if they travel in a group, they could be younger, because of course there will be group leaders, supervisors.
Mm-hmm. And how about
our
you?
centres start at 7, so we take children as young as 7, and the maximum age is 17. So all of our children are juniors.
And what about minimum entry requirements, I mean in terms of English level?
We don't have a specified minimum entry requirement. For individuals, it's better if they do have a basic knowledge. Otherwise, it's very difficult for them if they arrive with no English at all. So at least elementary, pre-intermediate. But we will take beginners. It's better if they come in a group with group leaders.
How does it work in general? How do you place students in groups within the school?
Well, normally, of course, first of all, there is a test. So students, the first day of school, they will sit a test which is both written and oral. And there are the traditional 6 levels according to the European framework, from B to A+. Mm-hmm. I should say the other way around, A to B+. And but the students are then organized not only according to level, but also according to age, which is very important, a mixture of nationalities. These are the 3 fundamental criteria: English level, age, and nationality mix that the school will consider when organizes each class.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same for us. We first look at the age of the student and we look at their level. So every student is tested when they arrive, and we try to mix them as best as possible in their classes by their age and their level. We have 3 separate age groups. So we have primary, secondary and senior levels. The course content is slightly different for for each of those age groups.
Elisa, to your opinion, when a child goes for the first time abroad, what challenges and implications he and his parents may face?
It depends on the age of the child, but usually the biggest difference coming to England is the cultural differences. We're very different as nations, and sometimes expectations. I think many Russians expect to see the Queen every time they come. That doesn't quite happen, but usually it's cultural differences, and sometimes they do get very homesick. If they're quite young, they miss their parents. So we have teams of people there to help them.
Yeah, thank you. And the question that goes together with the previous one is a safety question. It's always asked by the parents, how are the schools organized in terms of the safety, and how do they face safety issues for children and for adults?
Well, the two questions, you're right, they go together, because a language school is not simply a classroom situation with a teacher, tables and chairs. It's the life of the students for the duration of the program. So a language school will have to look after everything for 24 hours, from the cultural point of view, from the safety point of view, from the introduction to the country where they are studying, because they are studying in a given country which has certain characteristics. So safety is one of these elements, which of course is one priority in a language school, and safety is guaranteed by different means, in terms of supervision, in terms of staff, in terms of 24 hours emergency number, in terms of always making sure that all the activities are supervised. And also, in particular, in a country like Ireland, safety comes with the country, because it's a very, very safe country.
Right, and how does it work in summer camp?
Well, for Kingswood, because we work predominantly with British schools, we are governed by different accreditation boards to language schools, and our health and safety is the most important thing at the centre. All of our centres have a security fence around the centre, so that it's completely closed campus. There's no way to go in or out without a member of staff or a security pass. The activities that we offer are of an adventure nature, so that means that we have to have very high levels of health and safety and risk assessments, and that's the same for when the students also go off-site. All of our staff are first aid trained, and we have to DBS check our staff, which is a special check in the UK for criminal records, etc., to make sure that they are right to work with children.
Right. And my next question is addressed to both of you. Why you are different? Why someone should come to Kingswood and someone have to come to Emerald?
Okay, well, I think for us the biggest differentiation from most of our other providers in the UK is that the majority of the students with us are British. This gives students, international students coming to the UK, a great chance to mix with British students, learn more about British culture, and practice their English with native speakers. So that's a really big difference. The other is the types of activities that we offer to our juniors. We are one of the leading specialists in the UK with adventure activities. Our philosophy is learning by doing, which means basically the students spend a lot of time outside of the classroom, learning new activities, learning confidence skills, team building activities to practice their English. And it's a great place for them to learn an all-round programme.
Well, in our case, together with the quality of facilities, which even in the choice of the facilities, there is a rationale, there is a reason why we chose those particular buildings, those particular schools where we run our programs. But together with the quality of facilities, I should say it's the overall approach to what a language school is, because a language school is not only one aspect. There are different aspects. A language school means hospitality, because people travel from all over the world, and you look after them. A language school, as I said earlier on, is introduction to the culture, the tradition, the music, the people where you are actually studying. A language school is a place of encounter, where students coming from all over the world have this fantastic opportunity. In one word, a language school is very much an educational experience, and the school has to underline this, guarantee this, because it's part of the educational, spiritual, human path, a journey that a young student has in life. So for us, if you want this more holistic approach, this more totalizing approach is very, very important. It goes from the quality of facilities to teaching to the quality of coffee or food, which is very important.
I heard you have an Italian chief.
We have an Italian chef, yes, in the school. But I mean, because it's the attention to details, it's very important, because the person is one. So if a student comes, it's not only one aspect that we want to look after, but everything.
Right, and that is my favorite question, asked by many parents. Russian families do have concerns about the different language accents in different countries, and especially in Ireland. What would you say on that?
This is a very interesting question, which I think Lisa also can address. I think, first of all, in terms of the so-called Irish accent, people say they don't know, they wonder about the Irish accent, but actually I think Irish accent is much more common than people believe. Just think of famous characters, famous people like Bono from U2, or Colin Farrell, or Liam Gleeson. They're all Irish actors or Irish personalities which are very popular in television, movies, or whatever. Plus, I would say, in terms of the actual English in Ireland, there is a huge tradition in English language, which goes back to many centuries, and more recent to writers like James Joyce, Oscar Wilde, and so on. But I'd like to ask also Lisa to contribute in this, because English language is much more, I suppose it's much richer than what people immediately believe, because it's Canadian, Australian, New Zealand.
Yeah, that's true. I think there is a misconception that everybody in England speaks with the Queen's English. And in fact, less than 5% of the people in England speak the Queen's English. And that's mainly the Queen and her family, I believe. So if you come to England, in fact, many of the accents there are incredibly difficult to understand. Newcastle is a perfect example. So I don't think really there should be any worry about somebody travelling to Ireland or Canada or America or England just to learn a specific accent, because that's what makes our language actually so interesting.
Okay, Lisa, we are going to ask more questions to you both, but now we have a small break. Please stay with us and we will come back soon. Hello and welcome back to our TV program Foreign Education. I'm Elena Slobodyan.
And I'm Irina Potapova, and today we are talking about studying English language abroad.
Our guests are Lisa Janes from Kingswood and Mauro Biondi from Mauro Cultural Institute.
Right. Now we are moving to our next question, which is very important for those who are going to study language for academic purpose, let's say, and to maybe take some exams and particular certificates in English. So how long does it take from your experience for an adult to progress to the next level of English?
Well, for an adult, depends very much, of course, on the level that the adult starts. And there are so many different factors to take into consideration, not last the personal inclination towards studying a language. It is true that a language learning is an experience which never ends. A teacher used to say that there are 3 important requirements when you study a language. And the first one is time, the second is time, and the third one is time again. Because a language is something alive, something which evolves, and therefore requires a lot of commitment. Having said that, the other element to take into consideration is the target or the purpose for which you are studying a language. For example, many students nowadays, they study a language because they want to go to an English-speaking university, whether it's in America, in Ireland, in the UK, Australia. Therefore, for example, in that case, there is a specific target that you want to reach, which is the admission level required by the university.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for adults wanting to move into university and study a degree in an English-speaking environment, then the absolute minimum time that they would need from a good, strong intermediate level really is at least 6 months in a language school. We would always recommend more because it's not just about speaking the language. If you are going on to higher education, then obviously you will need written skills, very good listening skills because you're listening to lectures at university in another language. And this actually is one of the most difficult things for students to be able to do. So you can be very good at speaking, but not necessarily good at some of the other skills. In terms of juniors learning, to be honest, children do tend to learn faster. And even if they come for a short 2-week break in the summer, they can progress quite quickly with their basic knowledge. So it really depends, as Mauro said, on the end target and the reason for learning language.
But also, I would say, which is the other characteristics of a language or studying a language abroad, is the positive effect that studying a language in the country where the language is spoken has on the students. Because let's not forget that it's not only those 2, 3, 4 hours that you spend in a classroom, but it's the 24 hours experience in the host families, during the social program, in interacting with the local people. So it's an all-encompassing experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that was our next question, maybe, about the host families and residences, and how do you manage to accommodate all the students, and how does it work with the cultural environment around the study?
We don't have host families in our centres. All of our students are junior, so they stay in residence on campus. If they come as an individual with a very good intermediate plus level of English, then they can be accommodated in amongst the English students also on site. Of course, this is an amazing way for them to learn language very quickly. If they come within groups, then they are accommodated in amongst the rest of the students on site. We have a lot of international students as well, so it's a very international environment.
Well, it's the same with Emerald in the sense that you have both options. Actually, I should say also for adults, there are other options. First of all, the host families experience, it's always very positive. Irish people are friendly. They are very warm. There was a poet, W.B. Yeats, who said that in Ireland there are no strangers, but only friends you have met yet. And this says a lot about the attitude of Irish people towards foreigners. So certainly it's a very positive experience. Residential accommodation is also positive because, as Lisa was saying, you have the possibility to interact with other students, especially if you are a younger student, interact with other students coming from all over the world, plus the local staff. If you are a business person, and you come for a short program, intensive program, specialized English and so on, the option of hotel, guest houses and so on, which are equipped for this type of accommodation, is certainly another option to consider.
Okay. Lisa, I know that at your school children are involved in different activities. Can you tell a little bit more about this, how this progress is organized?
Yeah, sure. We're in the UK. We're one of the leading providers of adventure activities for children. The day is divided between a total of 7 different adventure activities. For international students, they will usually do 4 activities because they also have English language classes. The activities are in place to develop extra skills for students of a young age that will help them as they progress in their future. So we have, for example, lots of team building activities that help them learn to work within a team, communicate with each other. It's excellent for their English. We have lots of problem-solving activities and lots of high adrenaline activities such as the zip wire and 3G swing, which are 2 of the most popular ones. In general, the activities are there to increase the confidence of the child and to help them learn and grow more within their group of children.
Okay, and is there any opportunity to improve some specific skills, some specific knowledge, for example, in medicine, in computer science?
Yes, well, first of all, you have the English for Special Purposes programs, where you do general English, but you may have some special classes in business English, medical English, legal English, and so on. Also, something that we do, and we are quite expert in this area, it's the English and professional development, where you organize English classes, specialized English classes, and also seminars on specific topics with experts coming from those particular areas, whether it's marketing or the health system or quality control or whatever. And together with the programs, the classes, lectures, and so on, we also organize visits to the companies in Ireland. For example, in Ireland there is a huge sector, IT sector, because all the major multinationals, Google's, Microsoft, they are all there, and therefore this gives us the opportunity, for example, to organize visits or call experts to meet our students.
Mm-hmm. Right, and at this point, can I go back a bit to my university questions? Do you run any programs to prepare students for international exams, such as TOEFL, IELTS, and so on?
Yes, we do, and of course, exams like IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, or the Cambridge are the most popular, and each exam suits different people, because for example the Cambridge is 12 weeks preparation, and it's perhaps less linked to admission to university and more an assessment of your level that you want to reach. IELTS and TOEFL are very much in demand. IELTS, I would say, more for students who intend to go to England or to Ireland. TOEFL for students who want to study in the United States. There is a bit that kind of natural division, but we do both. And we have specialized classes, specialized teachers for this type of programs.
Can they take their exams at your school somewhere around? Can you help to organize that?
Yeah, that's right, because we are a recognized center for some of these exams, or in some countries, for some exams, there could be one center and our students we are recognized to prepare the students and we accompany the students there.
So it's very interesting, and I think it will be useful for our audience. But if somebody is interested in your programs, how and when one should apply to your schools?
We would always recommend that parents look to use a local agency within their home country. For us, we work with agencies across the world in order to be able to spend time training the agencies on our programs. And for us, it's a direct link. For the parents, it means that they get great service before the student comes, during the student's stay, and after. it's important that they have somebody who speaks their language, and so for us we would highly recommend working with an agency such as MNB Consult, for example.
I definitely agree with this, because let's not forget also that there is such a variety of programs available for the students, facilities, centers, and therefore the agents who visit the centers, who visit the schools before proposing these programs to the students, to the families, have the possibility to recommend, to suggest, according to the needs of the students. I always say that the agent or the agency, the agent is the first part of that journey I was talking about. And at some stage, this journey meets us. We intersect this journey of the people, but the beginning is with the agency.
Right. And what would you recommend to students thinking of coming to study language abroad?
I would say, I would summarize everything with one word: openness. It's a wonderful opportunity. It's a wonderful experience. It's the possibility today more than ever. Student mobility is one of the major characteristics of the educational phenomenon nowadays. Openness is the key.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Mauro. And today our program comes to the end. Our guests were Lisa Janes, Kingswood Summer Camp, and Mauro Biondi, Emerald Cultural Institute. I'm Elena Slobodyan.
And I'm Marina Potapova, head of MNB Consult Educational Agency. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.